What if I told you? Everything you think you know about the stock market is a carefully crafted illusion. The charts, the numbers, the suits, they're all part of a game, and you've been playing by the wrong rules. Welcome to the show where we pull back the curtain on financial mysteries. Today we're diving into the bizarre, sometimes absurd, but absolutely fascinating world of the stock market. If you've ever watched a movie about Wall Street, you probably think the stock market is just a bunch of people in suits screaming buy and sell while staring at flickering numbers. Or maybe you've seen those TikToks promising you'll be a millionaire if you just invest in whatever random ticker symbol is trending this week. Let me let you in on a little secret. It's way weirder than that. By the end of this video, you'll understand what's actually happening behind those mysterious ticker symbols, who's really controlling market movements. Spoiler, probably not who you think, and how you, yes, you can navigate this bizarre system without getting completely lost in the matrix. Buckle up. This is how the stock market actually works. To understand the modern stock market, we need to take a quick trip back in time. Picture this: Amsterdam, early 1600s. The Dutch East India Company needed massive amounts of money to fund their spice trading ships. But these voyages were incredibly risky. Storms, pirates, disease. Instead of one rich merchant risking everything, they had a wild idea. What if lots of people each invested a little bit? If the ship sank, nobody lost everything. If they returned with spices, everyone got a share of the profits. This was the birth of the modern stock market, a way to split both risk and reward. Pretty genius, right? But here's where it gets interesting. What started as a practical solution for funding risky ventures has evolved into something far more complex. A psychological battlefield where fear, greed, mathematical models, and global politics all collide in real time. So what exactly is this thing we call a stock? At its most basic level, a stock represents partial ownership in a company. But what does ownership actually mean here? Because I've owned Tesla stock for years, and Elon has yet to invite me to a single board meeting. When you buy stock, you're not buying the right to walk into company headquarters and start bossing people around. You're buying something much more abstract. What you actually get: first, voting rights. Technically, you can vote on major company decisions, but unless you're a massive investor, your vote is basically like throwing a pebble into the ocean. Second, potential dividends. If the company makes money and decides to share it, you might get a tiny slice. Emphasis on might. Many companies never pay dividends. Third, a claim on assets if the company goes bankrupt, though you're basically at the back of a very long line. But here's what you're really buying. You're buying a story about the future, a prediction, a bet that this company will be worth more tomorrow than it is today. And that's where things start to get weird, because the value of that story depends entirely on what other people believe it's worth. Most people think the stock market is just this simple place where buyers meet sellers, but it's actually a multi-layered ecosystem with different species of financial creatures, each playing their own unique role. Let's meet the inhabitants of this bizarre financial jungle. First up, institutional investors, the market elephants. These are massive funds managing billions or trillions of dollars. Pension funds, mutual funds, university endowments. When these giants take a step, the whole forest shakes. Did you know that just 10% of institutions control almost 80% of the stock market? That's right. A handful of fund managers in places like New York and London have more influence over market movements than millions of individual investors combined. Next, we have algorithmic traders, the market velociraptors. Fast, intelligent, and sometimes ruthless. These are programs executing thousands of trades per second based on mathematical models and patterns humans can't even perceive. Some of these algorithms are so advanced they can predict your trading behavior better than you can. They analyze everything from weather patterns to Twitter sentiment to satellite images of shopping mall parking lots. Creepy, right? Then there's market makers, the market's shopkeepers. These specialized firms are always willing to buy or sell, making sure you can trade whenever you want. They profit from the tiny difference between buy and sell prices. Every time you trade, these folks take a tiny cut. It might seem insignificant, but multiply that by billions of trades, and suddenly, they're making serious money just for keeping the market flowing. Every time you trade, these folks take a tiny cut. It might seem insignificant, but multiply that by billions of trades, and suddenly they're making serious money just for keeping the market flowing. And don't forget central banks, the market's weather gods. These powerful institutions don't directly trade much stock, but when they speak, everyone listens. When they change interest rates, it's like changing the gravity in the financial universe. When Jerome Powell clears his throat, trading algorithms around the world spring into action. A single word choice in a Fed statement can move trillions of dollars in minutes. And then there's you, the retail investor. In this ecosystem, individual investors like us are, well, let's just say we're not the apex predators. But that doesn't mean we can't thrive. In fact, sometimes being small gives us advantages the big players don't have. Let's talk about the most misunderstood concept in the entire market. Price. What determines a stock's price? Ask most people and they'll tell you it's supply and demand or the company's performance, but that's only part of the story. In reality, stock prices are more like an elaborate theater production. The visible price, that's just the last transaction that happened to take place. It doesn't necessarily reflect what the company is actually worth. Think about it. If I sell my one share of company X to my friend for $100, the stock price becomes $100. But what if everyone else values it at $90 or $110? The reported price is just a moment in time, a snapshot of the last agreement made. What's really determining prices is something called the order book, all the pending buy and sell orders waiting to be matched. This invisible iceberg of intentions is constantly shifting based on, first, market sentiment, the collective mood of investors. Are they feeling greedy or fearful, optimistic or pessimistic? It's basically the market's emotional weather. During the GameStop saga of 2021, the stock jumped over 1,700% in a matter of days. Was the company suddenly worth 17 times more? Of course not. It was pure sentiment, a collective belief that drove the price. Second, information asymmetry. Some players know things others don't, or they interpret the same information differently. And third, algorithmic triggers, programs detecting patterns and executing massive trades in milliseconds. Sometimes prices move dramatically, and no one, literally no one, can explain exactly why. It might be an algorithm responding to another algorithm responding to another algorithm in a weird feedback loop. Here's the mind-blowing part. The stock market isn't primarily about measuring actual value. It's about measuring perceived future value, filtered through human psychology, technological systems, and sometimes pure chance. In other words, it's complicated. So if the market is this complex ecosystem with all these different players, how do we make sense of it all? I like to think of it as the great game, a multi-dimensional chess match where everyone is playing by slightly different rules. The institutions are playing for steady, long-term growth to meet their obligations to pensioners. The algorithms are playing for tiny, consistent advantages exploited at massive scale. The traders are playing for short-term price movements. The long-term investors are playing for wealth accumulation over decades. And here's where it gets really interesting. All these players are not only reacting to the market, they're reacting to each other's reactions. It becomes this bizarre recursive loop. I think that they think that we think that they think. It's like financial inception. This is why making predictions is so hard. You're not just predicting the performance of a company, you're predicting how millions of other players will react to that performance and how they'll react to each other's reactions. Let me show you how this plays out with a real example. Imagine Apple reports earnings that are 5% better than expected. Good news, right? But the stock drops 10%. This happens all the time, and it confuses new investors. But it makes perfect sense when you understand the great game. What happened was, the official expectations were X, but the whisper expectations, what big players actually anticipated, were X plus 7%. So despite beating the official forecast, Apple actually underperformed compared to what the market really expected. And that's just one small example of how this game works. The most successful players aren't just analyzing companies. They're analyzing the analyzers. Now let's talk about the actual mechanics of how the market operates, the pipes and gears behind the curtain. When you press buy on your trading app, you're not directly connecting with someone who wants to sell. You're entering a complex system of intermediaries. Your order goes from your broker to exchanges or market makers, gets matched with a counterparty, then goes through a clearing and settlement process. And just like a complex machine, there are plenty of places where things can get interesting. For instance, did you know your broker might not be sending your order to whoever offers the best price? They might be sending it to whoever pays them the most to handle your order, a practice called payment for order flow. Is this good or bad for you? It depends who you ask, but it's definitely something most retail investors have no idea is happening. Another hidden mechanism. When you buy a stock, you don't actually own it immediately. There's a settlement period, currently T+2, meaning the transaction isn't final until 2 business days later. In those 2 days, all kinds of behind-the-scenes financial magic happens that most people never see. And let's not forget dark pools, private exchanges where massive blocks of shares trade without appearing on public exchanges until after the fact. Up to 40% of all trading happens in these dark pools. Think about that. Almost half the market's activity happens in places most investors can't even see. The point is, what you see on your trading app or on CNBC is just the simplified user interface of a much more complex machine working behind the scenes. After all this talk about systems and machines, here's the plot twist. The biggest factor in stock market movements isn't algorithms or financial statements. It's psychology, fear, and greed. These two primal emotions drive more market movement than all the economic data combined. When fear dominates, investors sell regardless of value. They just want out. When greed takes over, investors buy regardless of price. They just want in. And here's where it gets really fascinating. These emotions create predictable patterns. Markets move through psychological cycles. Optimism leads to excitement. Excitement leads to thrill and euphoria, the market peak. Euphoria leads to anxiety. Anxiety turns to denial. Then fear. Fear becomes desperation. Then panic. The market bottom. Panic leads to capitulation. Finally, despondency turns back to hope, and the cycle begins again. The wild thing is this pattern repeats at every scale, from intraday movements to decade-long cycles. It's like a fractal of human emotion. Once you understand this psychological pattern, you start seeing it everywhere. And more importantly, you can start identifying which phase we're in right now. The most successful investors aren't just good with numbers, they're masters of emotional intelligence. They recognize their own psychological biases and exploit the emotional reactions of others. Warren Buffett said it best: be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful. That's not just clever wordplay. It's the essence of contrarian investing. So after learning all this, you might be thinking, if I'm competing against billion-dollar institutions and supercomputers, what chance do I have? Actually, you have several powerful advantages they don't. First, time horizon. While big funds are obsessed with quarterly performance, you can think in decades. This is huge. Most professional investors can't hold through a downturn. They'll get fired. You can. Imagine playing poker where you're the only one who can stay at the table as long as you want. That's your superpower. Second, size. Being small is actually an advantage. You can invest in opportunities too small for the big players to bother with, and you can enter or exit positions without moving the market. Third, no career risk. Professional investors often avoid perfectly good investments because they're unpopular. If they're wrong the same way everyone else is wrong, they keep their jobs. If they're wrong in a unique way, they get fired. You have no such constraints. You can be genuinely contrarian without risking your livelihood. Fourth, personal knowledge. You have insights about products, trends, and companies in your daily life that might not yet be reflected in market analysis. Remember, before Tesla was a trillion-dollar company, it was just an interesting car that early adopters were obsessed with. The key to success isn't trying to beat Wall Street at their own game. It's playing an entirely different game, leveraging the unique advantages you have as an individual investor. So there you have it. The stock market isn't just a simple exchange where company performance directly determines stock prices. It's a complex, psychological ecosystem where multiple games are being played simultaneously. The companies and their performance are real, but the prices, they're the collective result of millions of human decisions, algorithmic triggers, information asymmetries, and sometimes pure emotion. The market isn't perfectly efficient, but it's not completely random either. It exists in this fascinating middle ground where patterns emerge, psychology drives behavior, and understanding the system gives you an edge, whether you're just starting your investing journey or looking to level up your understanding. Remember this: the greatest investors in history succeeded not just because they understood companies, but because they understood how the market actually works. If you found this eye-opening, hit that subscribe button for more videos that reveal the hidden truths behind the financial world. Drop a comment with questions or other financial mysteries you'd like me to unravel. Until next time, stay curious, stay skeptical, and happy investing.